Now that we have some pictures in the image library, we're going to use them to make a sample page. Here's an example I made, so we'll go through how to make this page just to use some of the different features of the page designer. So, from the home page, go to Create Page Designer and find the page that you are going to work on. When you open it for the first time, this little arrow, click it, and then you'll see all the page numbers. You're going to be building a left side of a spread, so before we start, hit View and then Left Page, and then we'll only be seeing the page that we're working on. Right now, we're just going to create the photo boxes and place the photos. Click the blue square to create a photo box, and the dominant photo is going to go all the way to what's called the bleed, which means that it's going to get trimmed. So we have to make sure we don't put anything important right on the edge there. It's going to be 4 of these big boxes. And to make sure that I get it just right, I'm going to zoom in, and then I can drag down to make sure I get it just right. And then the other 3 pictures that we're going to use for the 3 portraits are all the exact same size as each other. They are 2 boxes wide, so that's the default wide, and they are a little bit shorter. They're 1 big box and 4 small boxes tall. So again, I'm going to zoom to 200 to make sure I got that right. There we go. Now, one thing is when you see when I click and move them around, I can move them 1 pixel at a time. If you go up to View and then Snap to Grid, the default is with Snap to Grid turned on, which means every time you move it, it moves half a box. So for right now, actually, that's fine. So you can leave it on View Snap to Grid, or you can turn it off if you want a finer control. Now just copy and paste this twice. I use the keyboard shortcuts Command C and Command V the same way that I do in like Microsoft Word. Okay, so now we'll worry about the actual location in just a minute. Let's just move these out of the way. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so again, we'll line those up in just a minute, but the next thing I want to do is place the photos into their boxes. So you're going to go over to the Images tab on the right, and if your folder isn't already chosen, you can look at all of the available folders and choose the folder that has your name. Then drag the dominant photo into that one, photo portrait 1 into here, portrait 2, portrait 3. Now, the dominant photo I'm going to leave just as it is. I'm not going to resize it. But if I look at these 3, obviously the faces are very different sizes in the pictures, and I want them to be uniform. So I'm going to zoom in so I get a better look. I'll go to 200. And I want to move this face down, so if I double click on the picture, I can click and drag to bring it down in the frame. Then if I double click on the next one, I can click on the slider to drag and make the picture bigger in the frame, and then I can click and drag to reposition it. And actually this one is pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to save. It's good to save every once in a while. You can always go back if you decide that you don't like it. You can always click on the History tab and see all the previous save states. Okay, last thing I'm going to do in this video is look at one of the different things that we can do with the picture. So with the picture selected, click on the Format tab and then click on the Effects. One thing you might have to do is make a color picture black and white. So when it's selected right here, click on Grayscale. We're going to make these 3 pictures black and white. Alright, so now we are done with placing photos.